Good morning, Anambra. Monday morning edition. Today is the 11th day of November. How are you? Good to know that you're already seated and have joined us for this discussion. Okay, my name is Ijoma Uche, and this morning we're going to look at the U.S. presidential election, the implications for Nigeria. That's what we are cut out for this morning. And I have gentlemen that have joined me to look at that. The first person is John Ifejika. John Ifejika is a public affairs analyst. Good morning, John.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Okay. And I also have Nze Nwabeze Akabogo.
Umeji Akabogo.
Okay, Nze Nwabeze Umeji Akabogo. Okunobo of Enugu Ukwu, and the commentator on international affairs. Good morning, Okunobo.
Thank you very much. Good morning, viewers.
On the 5th of November, just last week, we recorded a major event in the whole world whereby the Americans went to the polls to elect a new president. Of course, the political analysts will tell you that this is a major shift, okay, because you know that the Democrats have been in power. And of course, Trump was there, left 4 years, and Democrats came in, and people were just wondering, with all the shenanigans on ground from the Democrats and the power of incumbency, which of course they exhibited, why was it possible for the Republicans to take away power from them? These and many more are the things we're going to look at. And basically, how does this election affect Nigeria? Because it does appear the election is happening in America, but we are the people celebrating the election and everything about it here. So we're also going to look at the implication of the American presidential election on Nigeria generally, economically, you know, and otherwise. Okay, welcome again. Let me start with you, Okunobo. Could you just give us a little analysis of this election, presidential election in America?
Thank you very much. Americans have spoken loud and clear on 5th November 2024, and they elected their preferred candidate, Donald Trump, as the 47th president of the United States of America. The president-elect Trump victory was not a surprise to me. Not a surprise to me, to many other political observers around the globe. If you recall, Trump is an enigma, an idol, and a mass movement in the United States of America, as he represents the core values of the American dream, the core values of American dream, which is a superpower. America is a superpower on the world stage. So it's not a surprise that they won the election decisively against Kamala Harris, who is the outgoing vice president of America. You also recall that President Biden's presidency could be regarded as a clueless and lame duck administration, because America never had it so bad during the Biden's administration. You talk about economy, you talk about same-sex marriage, you talk about all sorts of things. Yes, so American wanted a change. So Kamala, with all due respect to her, couldn't have been a match to Donald Trump. Despite Trump's extremism, many often negative rhetorics against his political opponents. Yet, the American conservative Republicans kept on worshiping him as a true leader, as a strong leader. America always needs a strong leader.
Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, John Ifejika, I want us to look at presidential election in America. Let's look at, let's say, 20 years back. What is the trend like? Okay.
Yeah, 20 years back, America has always been the way they are. It's a little to the left, a little to the right, then the center. We are talking of the Republican and the Democrats. Jimmy Carter was there, and later it was our own person who came in for the Republican. It has always been a big problem. Jimmy Carter was a Republican.
No, Democrat.
I mean, not Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan was a Republican.
That's right.
And a very strong man.
Yes.
Americans want action.
Yes.
Americans want somebody who is very strong.
Yes.
And after that, Jimmy Carter came. Jimmy Carter was not as strong as Ronald Reagan when you talk at political, because immediately he came in, there was that problem of...
it was Bush that succeeded Reagan.
After Reagan.
After Reagan.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It was after Reagan, Bush was his vice president.
Okay,
but the reason why Ronald Reagan defeated
Jimmy Carter
was because of that.
Jimmy Carter was there before
Iranian hostages.
It was a disaster.
They wanted to do what the Israelis did in Uganda.
It was a disaster.
And it was disastrous. Americans don't like such a thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you bring it forward to the time when Bill Clinton came in. Bill Clinton was a very strong president. In spite, if it's not, which is a scandal with Monica Lewinsky, that would have been a very big shame. But he still insists, he continued. Obama came very strong. And though a black, he has the rhetorics and everything. He came in very strong. Mm-hmm. Then he wanted to support his vice, Al Gore. Albert Gore couldn't because he was a weak vice president. He was very weak. And when what affected Trump was this issue of COVID, then the American press never liked him because of his outspokenness against LGBT and things like that. Then our friend came in, Joe Biden. When Joe Biden came in, Afghanistan was a disaster, just like what happened to Jimmy Carter. That was what they used in welcoming him. And it became a big problem for him. There's no way he could do anything. Then he started having a name, the fallen president. You will be fall in public places, you will see president falling down. Climbing the plane is falling down. Americans felt that, no, this man is a weakling. One day we will be in this country and our rivals, our enemies will come and subdue us. We want a Superman.
One day America will fall alongside.
Yes, we want somebody that is strong. Yes, what happened in Afghanistan was very, very embarrassing because initially American told us that nobody can open whatever, the vehicle they left, that it will be there. But they find out, only to find out that those armament they supplied to Afghanistan wasn't made in America. It was what they bought from Russia. So that there will not be transfer of technology and so on. Okay,
fine. Let's look at this competition between the Republican and the Democrats.
Democrats,
yes. Who will you give it? Will you say that the Republican has done better than Democrats, or Democrats? Just briefly before we get to
right from time, you find out that it has been in that percentage. Lyndon Johnson was a Democrat. Kennedy was a Democrat. These are very good American presidents. But towards the 70s, the Republicans started having very strong presidents. That was even, because in 1966 or so, when Cuba, what would have led to Third World War, it was Kennedy, John F. Kennedy, who prevented it. Fitzgerald Kennedy prevented it. It would have been a world war. 3, that would have been very disastrous. Then it was USSR, not Russia. And ever since that time, there's always been that very strong and sensible, because when you give a madman to be the president of America, to be the prime minister of Britain, to be the prime minister of France, Russia, one day they will jeopardize the whole world. So it must be somebody who has intellect, who thinks very fast and knows what he's doing. That's the kind of people. You don't just give it to a madman to do all these things.
Okay. Let's now look at the implications of the U.S. presidential election in Nigeria, considering the significant place that America hosts in the whole world, and then their influence in Nigeria. Let's look at how it's going to affect us economically, you know, security-wise, and a whole lot of things, okay?
Yes, thank you very much. You must remember that President Trump, or President-elect Trump, during his first tenure in office that ended in 2020, Trump was really critical of African leaders, very critical of African leaders. He was saying that Africa has so much endowment, natural endowment, that will make the continent great. But their leaders, he always said that leaders are myopic. African leaders are myopic, and they could not develop their continent. So I don't think Africa will be Nigeria will be a reckoning to Trump, his second coming. I don't think so, because he has always said America first. That is his campaign slogan, America first, to make America great again. In any case, I will say that Trump's ascension to the presidency once again will make the entire world less peaceful. That is my fear. It will make the entire world less peaceful, because during his first tenure, he repudiated all the bilateral and the multilateral agreements reached by world leaders. Name it, NATO. He pulled out America from NATO on the ground that the American was bearing the financial burden of NATO. Forgetting that that's the price a superpower pays. You don't expect other smaller nations to pay the same fees like America. That's the price you pay as a superpower. So he went on to climate change, withdrawal of climate change, G7, all these multilateral organizations that binded the world together, that made sure that the world was at peace. You removed even the Iran peace deal that was already approved by them. He came in and said, pulled out America, thereby exposing the world to great danger, because if you pull out from Iran, then Iran had the obligation to start to manufacturing their nuclear weapons. So that is a deficit Trump said to the world. In Nigeria, I don't think there's anything. The only thing we should do in Nigeria is to be self-sufficient. We have to look inwards and make sure that look at how the election went. Within 24 hours after the election, there was a victor emerged, a winner emerged. Less than that. Match. No tribunal, no Supreme Court.
Nobody telling you to go to court.
No Supreme Court. And Biden promptly congratulated immediately. Same with Kamala Harris. So that is democracy at work. Okay. So that is the only thing we can, if we can copy from America. We don't copy we copy wholeheartedly American system of government as the leading democratic government in the world.
Yeah, I think I want to differ here. because in his first tenure, he was just a businessman coming in. He's never been to the Senate, never been to anything.
For the first time.
For the first time, it was
somebody who was not a governor, who was never a senator.
He was a promoter of wrestling.
Yeah, that's right.
He did so many hustling jobs.
That's right.
Yes, he was promoting wrestling. Okay, now onye nke na agba mgba obote scissors na akpogisi. Nwoke ina nanya.
Trump.
Why I said, he made a statement that his daughter Tiffany is expecting. That was a statement, one of the statements he made. Tiffany lives in Lagos in Banana Island.
Yes, I read it.
With her husband.
I read
so
it.
The in-law of Trump is the managing director presently, Musada Bulos, presently of SCOA in Lagos here. And the Bulos was a company that was selling Honda and Suzuki motorcycles in those days. And they now went into toiletries when the economy was down, and they are there. Yes. And today, the daughter and the husband are the heir apparent to all these companies, all these things. And knowing the kind of person that Trump is, Trump will not ignore the daughter who lives in Banana Island, in as much as most of the time, the couple goes out of the country, yes, and they come in to face
most of the time in the United States.
In the United States, yes, and so on.
What is the implication of this?
The implication is that he will not close his eyes
to what is going on in Nigeria.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, then, when you talk of, he mentioned something about that Ukraine war. He said 24 hours that Ukraine war will come to an end, which Putin said is just exaggeration, but he's waiting for him to bring the settlement that is ready. And if he settles the Ukraine war, 90% of the wheat we consume in Africa comes from Ukraine. So it's going to help economically. Things will calm down.
Things will calm down.
Yes.
When we are looking, we saw in the paper this morning that his election has made Naira to go up. Every other thing, even the fuel price, affected the fuel price and the whole lot of things.
The stock exchange people have a way of the way they do things. Tell me what concerns the woman selling gari in a coca with dollars in America, for God's sake.
Because if you finish selling this is why gari, she's going to use the money to go and buy clothes. Perhaps it's coming from another country. And then if the money cannot be enough, next time he wants to sell her gari, she will increase the money to be able to purchase what she doesn't have.
There are certain things.
So it's a vicious circle.
Yeah, there are certain things that might happen. Trump may not want to assist us because of the government were recently minors. It's a shame. And the Attorney General of Nigeria was telling us that there's nothing wrong in prosecuting minors. It's wrong. And no country, no advanced country will want to support a country that behaves in that way. So except Nigeria changes all these things. Biden gave us a very tough time that we must follow gay marriages, which Trump said no. Yes. And that's why we are having relief. Yes. He said if America is going to help any nation, they must go into gay marriage. Can you imagine like that, seeing you, IJ, and Ifi getting married?
If they give you this and take the other, I think the onus now lies in you, considering the ones you got and the ones that you have lost. Which one is more important to you? Let's look at the security cooperation. Yes. The U.S. provides military aid and security cooperation to Nigeria, which can be affected by the outcome of the presidential election. Okay, you have mentioned his interest in Nigeria. Yes. Do you think it's going to affect the way we live here? Presently, security in Nigeria is at 0 level. Okay, do you think it's going to come to our aid?
Yes. Now, let me say, this issue of security is turning to another thing. It's bringing embarrassment to us. Most of the time when we talk of security, we are all talking about, we are now pointing at the federal government. Every state governor, for God's sake, collects what we call security vote, which you are aware of. Yes. They collect security vote. What do they do with this security vote?
What has security vote got to do with miscreants making your government ungovernable?
Yes, that is why you will do something to do what? To deal with them squarely. Now, let me tell you, a governor came and found out that there are a group of people that will give him problem in a state in the western region. He decided to say, you, this man, be in charge of this area. Collect the little something they are collecting and make sure there is peace. I don't want to hear that somebody's bag is taken, there's a pickpocketing, you have to stop in that area. They did all these things and there was sanity in all these things. First and foremost, let our governors, first of all, look at the issue of security in their states. If they look at the issue of security in their states, with the money, do you know how much a lot of them are collecting for security votes? When they look at these security things, the implications have to stop. We have to find out how we are going to do that. But you find out that every day things are getting bad and bad and bad locally. Now in some towns you can't move in the night. You move, you see some other people. We don't even have security in most places, especially in the southeast. In the southeast. But a state very close now did one thing. Say, let there be neighborhood watch. Every community. If you now, for example, if you say, let all the villages in a certain town, maybe Oka now, begin to watch, they know the criminals in their midst. And they form what we call the neighborhood security. Then by the time we start all these things, holding all these things together, then we now talking of the federal. Let state, first of all, do their own. Now we have had elections in all states in Nigeria, having local government chairmen. Local government chairmen also have to start by keeping, building a neighborhood security that will take care of everything before they now come to the governor. Let them do all these things, and they know. Communities know criminals in their midst.
I think we're digressing from the main issue of Trump and what advantage does Nigeria have from Trump?
Yeah, we are looking at the security.
Yes,
is there any way we can gain security?
I don't think America has that interest in Nigerians. After all, Nigerian government purchases their arms from all over the place, not only in America, not only from the United States. So I don't think there's any advantage that this country will derive from Trump's presidency. The way I know Trump's interest is how to make America great again. Economically and militarily across the globe. I think that is the major policy.
That's for America. We are looking at our own. How does it impact on us?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I've already said that Trump has been blaming African leaders for not doing much for their country.
But is he wrong?
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong.
It's not that they're not doing, they're myopic. They're not doing much for their country, despite all the endowment, natural endowment.
The richest continent in the world.
Yes. So,
and yet the people are very poor.
So, and let me mention the issue of Ukraine and Russia. America is the greatest supplier of arms to Ukraine in this war.
Through NATO.
Through NATO, yes, America. In fact, Biden has been assisting Ukraine militarily for a very long time at this point. So I don't know the magic Trump will perform in trying to make sure that there's ceasefire between Russia and the Ukraine as soon as he comes into the...
He's going to do it because it's going to be a little to the left, a little to the right.
I think his greatest interest is what is happening in Palestine, Gaza, for instance, and Lebanon. Because he has already issued a warning, very strong warning to Gaza, to Hamas, telling them that they should release Israeli hostages before he comes in January. So that's Trump for you. And same with Lebanon. And
Israel not having hostages with them? Other nations hostages?
No, they have. Israel have. But Hamas have been dilly-dallying. They have not been forthcoming. Hamas has not been in negotiation.
There's negotiation.
Negotiation.
Release, I release, but Hamas refused.
Yes, yes.
So that's the issue.
Some of the American hostages have died in detention. Some of them died. So I think his preoccupation is what is happening in the Middle East rather than what is going to happen in Nigeria or in Africa.
All right. Let's, because we're still looking at the implication, how it's going to affect us. That's the presidential election in America and the coming of President Trump. Yeah, president, because he has been a president before. You know,
not president-elect.
Not just president-elect.
Not president-elect.
He's also
okay.
He was the 45th president, yes. And now he's going to be the 47th.
47th president. So. Okay. Another area I'd like us to look at is the immigration policies, because we know what happened when he was here 8 years ago, and then a lot of people are very, very concerned about what he's going to do this time around. You know, there's not going to be any second term. Whatever he has in mind or whatever he wants to do is this period. But we're going to take a break here. When we come back, we'll look at the immigration policies of the America and then how it's going to affect Nigerians. We'll take a break here.
I believe that with the new president, there will be new policies also that will be in place that will favor many of Nigerians that will be traveling abroad, either for study or for whatever purpose they'll be moving abroad for. And it's going to be a favorable one for everyone aspiring to leave the country for greener pastures.
Trump won, we all know. And I believe between the two parties that we are contesting for the election, that's the Democrats and the Republicans, the major thing I believe Trump wants to fight for is this, what is this policy again? No, not immigrants. About these people that want to change their sex from birth. You say from birth, people knew you as a guy or probably as a lady, but you now came to a certain age, you now decide, okay, wow, seems like I've been told a lie since birth, and I want to be a female, or I want to be a bi, or something of that sort. I choose to identify as X. Okay, let me come from the part of the believer. Yeah, I believe these 4 years that Trump is going to take charge in the United States, some of the policies, some of this, the effect of this, their transgender and all this what's not, it's going to grant them for a bit.
The impact of the US election, presidential election in Nigeria, is that, first of all, it gives us a change in direction in terms of how we conduct our own elections. The way it was orderly, the way it was smooth, people could do it at their own convenience. So that's major for me. Also for immigrants, I think the new government to put in the right policies in place to ensure that people who deserve to migrate, you know, in a very correct manner, proper way, they can easily do that without stress.
Seeing that the physical labor, manual labor that they have there in America, it's basically run by the Nigerian man. And if Trump's policies are to cut out immigrants, I believe it's for the reason of not tarnishing the American image. But if it has its implication in boosting the American economy, I believe he would not cut out immigrants that have that purpose of doing business on the American soil, seeing that it's mutually beneficial to African and also to the American people.
Okay, you're welcome back. It is still Good Morning, Anambra. There's this notion that they have about Republicans, especially the regime of Trump, that it boldens Americans to attack non-Americans, okay, especially in the area of crime. It was during his last regime that we saw a whole lot of black Americans or even non-Americans being humiliated in one way or the other, because these Republicans feel that this is our home, you don't have to share it with us. Mm-hmm. And if you are here, you must live the way we live, or you live.
No,
okay,
so American forefathers.
Okay, but they say that during the Democrats regime, that they don't have this kind of problems. No, that
John
the Democrats
Adams,
are more democratic than
and something years ago, changed
so
all these things.
what will you be talking? I mean, what will you be telling our people over the other spirit?
People should be law-abiding. America has a very strong system that protects everybody. Once you are law-abiding, you have nothing to fear in America. Yes. In fact, any infractions, like we say, attacking, if America have strong laws, if you commit any offense, you go in for it. America will never protect you because you are black or white. The system is strong. The system takes care of everybody. So I appeal to our people, if their papers are not correct in America, make sure you regularize your papers. If you are not, you can come back if you know that your papers are not correct. You come back and get yourself
on your own before you are deposited.
Yes.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you. We'll look at U.S. presidential election, the implications on Nigeria. And I'd like to thank the guests that joined me this morning. Johnny Fejikada is public affairs analyst, for joining us this morning. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. And then Nze Nwabeze, what is the statue actress? Umeji Akabog. Okay. Okunobo one of Enugu.
The third.
Okay, the third. Okunoba the third.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay.
Nigerians, I appeal to you to let us keep let us look inward and develop our nation like America developed their nation. Let us not be looking up. Migrating to other nations that are already developed. Let us come back home and develop our country to suit our own environment.
God bless us in this country.
Okay. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Okay. Incidentally, that's why we're doing the cutting on this morning's edition of the discussion segment on Good Morning Anambra. My name is Ijoma. Bye for now.